So that brings me to my very last question. And it's kind of unfair for Josh not having seen the rest of this series to answer it. But Casey, I mean, you can, Josh, but Casey, I also want your opinion. Who had the better final moment, Logan or Tony Stark?
What the heck are you thinking asking that question? Holy cow!
The impossible question. Who had the better final moment, Logan or Tony?
Man.
Because both of them have incredible story arcs over 10 years of storytelling. Longer, I mean, if you're into the comics, even longer than that, if you're that familiar with the characters. But both of those moments were so perfectly laid out. It comes down to opinion. And if you don't want to answer, you don't have to. If you love both of them, that's fine. But I just wanted to throw that question out there. And maybe people in the comments can answer too, if they get this far in the podcast. Let us know who had the better final moment, the better death scene, the better conclusion to their story arc, Logan or Tony.
Obviously unfair, but I am going to say Tony Stark, but only by a margin. Cool. So obviously, I don't know as much about the X-Men universe and everything like that, but I did think that his final scenes were perfect. He does the things that was earlier said that he would never do, and making a sacrificial play and everything like that. And I get that Logan is sort of like that as well, which is why I can't really have a ball in the court. I think that's as far as final sacrificial scenes. If you talk about their final afterward scenes, death scenes, after they had gone, I would also say Tony Stark, just because the funeral thing was great for me. But I did I was all whoa, when she came back and she took the cross down and she made it the X, and I was whoa, nailed it.
The feels, man. Touches the feeling.
It was very cool. So obviously extremely biased, and I think even if I had seen the series, I would obviously know more about Logan's character. But I think it's still, like you guys were saying, sort of an impossible question to ask, Vince. How dare you?
I know. I'm sorry. I apologize. Is this going to be another one of those moments where I put you guys into an impossible question and then I dodge the question myself?
You better not dodge it. I'll give you my thoughts on it, okay? Oh, what have you done, Vince? What have you done? I'm going to go with Logan, personally, and it's not because I want to oppose anyone or I want to be different here. I love Tony Stark, and I think that his final acts and his whole story arc throughout the film, the Marvel Universe, fantastic, wonderful, great. I need to get that out there first. But Logan is more of the everyday man. The very first movie, he's driving around an old clunker RV, cage fighting in freaking wherever, and he develops. He never really changes that much, which is great, and I love that about him. He's scrappy. He kind of just does things in his own way, which we can say the same about Tony Stark for sure. He's scrappy, even though he has so much at his disposal. But Logan, man, he tried to help Rogue. He fell in love with Jean Grey. Even though he's kind of a dick to Cyclops, he had his back, and he's always kind of the same way. And oh man, but I think that I could relate more to Logan just because I've never been a billionaire playboy philanthropist, I haven't had that opportunity yet in life. But what is so cool about Logan is this movie, kind of like you're talking about, this film I think was for me the most emotional of all of the movies, at least, of having Wolverine and Logan be a part of it. Because you're right, Vince, he was carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders, literally. And he was trying to find a way to continue to do so, even hurt, even damaged. He was moving, going, and trying to keep everything on his shoulders. And as a being with limited resources, he did great, and he did everything he could. And I was sad. I cried tears when Tony Stark died. I will be honest about that. But when Logan died, I was like, no. Like, who's the grand protector of the realm now? Like, that was what went through my mind, you know? Like, who's taking care of this? And who's going to be there for these mutants that need an upbringing? Who's going to be there for Lara? And, like I went much farther because I knew that Pepper Potts and their child would be taken care of and fine because they have money. But these are freaking homeless street kids, you know? They're clones. And, oh, Vince, how could you ask this question? Like,
it's hard, man.
I'm sticking with Logan, but like, oh my gosh, what a question.
Because
Okay,
I
Vince,
agree. I agree
you
with what
can't
you
dodge it now.
Okay, I agree with what you said. Tony literally has the weight of all the worlds on his shoulders, but Logan has the weight of his world on his shoulder, and it's such a smaller scale. But to him, it's just, you know, the feeling is just as great in a way. You know, if your whole world is crashing around you, it feels like the whole universe is crashing around you. You know, so they both have their own emotional roller coaster, and they both go through this incredible story arc of, you know, Tony being this selfish person to be the one who sacrifices himself, and then Logan being this tool bred for destruction to becoming something good, and to constantly be trying to be that person, even though everything that's happening around him, everyone around him is dying and everything is going wrong, and he's just tortured by his world falling apart. But then, even in his worst moment, rising up to defend the people who need it, you know, and to sacrifice himself for the people who need it too. I mean, he's been trying to escape this world for so long, to the point he's carrying a bullet around in his pocket. You know, he wants to die.
Yeah.
But Charles doesn't want him to die without knowing that the world can be good, you know? And so, to conclude, I agree with you, Casey. I think I prefer the Logan death over the Tony Stark death.
Oh,
And
man.
it's so hard to say that, but I just loved this story so much, and it's just so touching and so emotional, and it's just so, it's like you said, so touching to see that this man who's just ruined can find that peace in the last moments, you know. And just like I said, tears. In both movies, tears.
Yeah.
Movies are cool,
I think
guys.
we can agree that they both in the end made the real sacrifice play to save not only the world but their daughters, who were introduced in the final movie.
Yep.
It's a very, very similar death, but also very different in the roles that they play, the people who they are, and just both incredible. So, Vince, you did come up with the ultimate impossible question, but I hope that we at least provided some sort of answer to it. And we, of course, want to hear what you guys think, who please message us or just in the comments after you listen to it on our Twitter or Facebook or Instagram posts or on YouTube. Let us know your answer to Vince's impossible question.